Jim Lanzone is one of my favorite people in the media business.
Yeah.
We do this every year at Cannes. We have a good time.
We're back.
And I'm going to embarrass him for a little bit. Jim Lanzone is one of the most human executives that I know. He is such a fun person. He loves music. He's on the board of the Newport Folk Festival. And that's why Yahoo has the best concerts. Sorry, Spotify. Everyone better come to Diplo on Wednesday. Jim Lanzone, thank you for joining us.
Good to be here. We're back.
You're back.
We're back.
All right, Jim. What a ride Yahoo has had. So Apollo buys Yahoo from Verizon Media. Nobody knows what to expect. Everyone thought that it was a company left for the dead. I wrote that. And
we know.
And then you guys come in, you sell off assets quickly, you alleviate the debt, you make some difficult decisions, but you immediately turn the company into a pretty profitable engine with no debt, and you start making acquisitions. Walk us through the phase where Yahoo is now, because in my mind it was clean the books, make the investments. What's happening now?
Well, look, it's you'll hear similar things, I think, from my friend Nirav from next door as well. It was, who by the way was employee 84 of Yahoo, and we just came. And we actually, to put it in, we just had a reunion on the beach at our beach club earlier today. So of all the Yahoo and AOL former employees, Nirav was invited. He was very busy, but it was amazing. They all yodeled, as you might expect. Look, to get, and this is the original thesis for wanting to come take the company over, for both me and all the people who came with me to join the company. Like, to be able to get an asset like this huge, with this many users, that, to your point, has been through the ringer over the years, and probably hadn't put its best foot forward on things like product, which is where it all starts. So to me, and again, this is why I feel like it's still early for us in a lot of ways, we just got to work rebuilding every single product that we operate. And it had been a long time since I think the best versions and most current modern versions of all Yahoo products were out there. And so within the last 9 months, basically every pixel on Yahoo is new. Every major product that we operate has been relaunched. And so you would think, oh, a 30-year company, because we had our 30th birthday this year, but just on Friday, we had our highest number of iOS users ever of the Yahoo Mail app on the heels of a big launch that we did last week, launching all these new AI features, and we did some marketing around that. And that doesn't just happen. That takes some really amazing people to come in and get a hold of this asset and start to cook a bit.
Okay, let's talk about what you're cooking. So when you all came and took over Yahoo, you made it very clear that you saw sort of a few big buckets. There's Yahoo Sports, Yahoo Finance, sort of Yahoo Mail, and then there's the Yahoo News Entertainment sort of environment. Why did you choose those buckets? Like, there are assets that are falling outside of those buckets that you've decided not to invest in. You divested TechCrunch, for example. What about those 4 assets? Was it just that they were the biggest or that they had the most promise?
So it all goes back to the mission of Yahoo, which we just had Jerry Yang back for an all-hands meeting, and we talked about this, that when you picked up the company, we had to reestablish the mission. Like, why are we here, and what are the next 30 years going to look like? And it turned out that if you really peeled it apart, why does Yahoo still have hundreds of millions of users a month? It's where we are strongest is where we are still the trusted guide to the internet for our users in these categories. And the ones you mentioned, sports, finance, news, are some of them. Communications and utilities products are others. And that's where it is, we're still top 5 in the US, top 5 globally, and people would be surprised, but we are top 5 with Gen Z.
And top 5 in what?
Total traffic.
Total
number
traffic
of
by
users.
customer.
Even products like Mail, 50% of our users are millennial or Gen Z. So the audience has evolved with us, where we have continued to keep the faith as the trusted guide to the internet. Now, you have to reimagine what that looks like from 2021 when we picked it up, and let's say we really got rolling a year or so later forward. And what I'd say is, most of the categories you mentioned, I would just say we're completely underinvested in. So just take sports as one example. Yes, we have relaunched. We have an amazing new team led by Ryan Spoon, who spent many years at ESPN, and we have brand new versions of our fantasy app. We have brand new versions of the main sports app. But we also are now doing 50 hours of programming a week, and that wasn't understood before that you had that much potential behind the Yahoo Sports brand. Now, as we roll into 2026, our sports betting deal is up with BetMGM after many years of a deal that Verizon had done. And so there's just a huge amount of opportunity there if you build behind the user base with great products. And that is such a core basic on consumer internet, which is, our bread and butter. So that's what we're doing category by category.
And then when you think about these categories, what do you think the future of them is? Because some of them are absolute behemoths. Like, you could probably spin one out and IPO it. You could sell one. Like, is the idea that each one of them has its own track and own future? Or would you think one day maybe Yahoo just stays itself together as a behemoth, goes public or sells or something like that?
Well, people are always very interested in the pieces, but I would say we are strongest together as one unified Yahoo, as an ecosystem of very strong brands that operate independently in their categories. So, yes, every one of the brands you mentioned has competitors that are very different from each other, and we put teams in charge with general managers and heads of product and heads of engineering and heads of content to go after those verticals independently. But then they all weave together. I kind of call it at the federal level. We have patriotism for Yahoo overall. And where it really adds up and comes together, not to be too on the nose about it, because here we are in Cannes, is to have this level of traffic, this scale, but perform the way we do with on the advertising side, convert the way we do, is just extremely rare. And so that happens across the ecosystem. We have a first-party relationship with more people than most properties. And the number that come along that have traffic at this level, it's like one every 3 to 5 years, right? Now it's ChatGPT. Before that, it was TikTok. Before that, it was Snapchat. I mean, it just does not happen very often. If you look in the top 10, it's amazing how many of these companies started in the 90s. So you have this rare asset if you're to nurture it the right way, and the payoff is actually on the advertising side where we truly convert. And so this year, this sounds odd because for 10 years this wasn't the case. We relaunched our own advertising sales force. So Yahoo Ads is brand new again. And we now are selling directly, not just programmatically for all of these. At the same time, we have the world's largest private DSPs. So we compete with Trade Desk, Google, Amazon. And just today we announced signing Netflix. They're now part of our ecosystem. So that only happens, though, through the entire ecosystem working as one. And so I really do think the power of Yahoo is as one thing.
I want to get your take on AI, because Yahoo, where it has power, is syndication. You guys are intentionally, when you create content, it's for fans of niches, but it's not necessarily like news publishing or anything like that. So what is the role that AI plays for you? Do you see yourself doing licensing deals? Do you see yourself bringing AI chatbots onto your sites? What's the plan?
Oh, the chatbots are already all over our sites.
No, but I mean like your own custom chatbot.
No, so nothing to announce on that front. What I would say is we've, since the beginning, I think ChatGPT landing in November of 2022 hit the industry like a ton of bricks. It was something very different. It was applicable to basically every consumer product in existence. And for us, we woke right up and started building products or acquiring some, like we talked about last year with Artifact and News. So email, search, news, fantasy sports, investing, they all have AI-specific features that we've launched as part of those. Yahoo Blueprint in the DSP, helping build campaigns and target them in automated fashion. So we've put AI to work product by product so far. Is there a larger order bit with AI across our portfolio? Nothing to announce today.
Okay, but that reads like a stay tuned. So I'm just going to say stay tuned.
We're working on a lot of things.
Love that. Just want your overall take on the ad market right now. We're here in Cannes, we're celebrating, but the backdrop is that we have this unusual economic situation, tariffs, uncertainty. Kate from Group M, WPP Media, is here, and she just lowered her forecast because of some of these tensions. You are one of the largest ad companies in the world. What is your take? Are you bullish or bearish that things are going to be better, worse?
It's funny you mentioned. I would say to talk to the agencies in some ways more than we are a bit downstream from that. What we have seen so far has been fairly consistent Q1 to Q2, looking at the rest of the year. but it's a very sobering time, and so some are with the unpredictability of our own economy. Some are, there are, the world's at war in certain places. That, there's a lot of things that could affect the market, and we need to be able to stay nimble. I do think it's category by category is what we've seen, what you've probably seen with your clients. Some get hit right away. Autos was a big one when the tariffs hit. So when it comes to Yahoo, we're on this it's funny to say, but pre-IPO, almost early stage for us in certain ways. So we're still in growth mode. So maybe we won't see it compared to some who are completely peaking at all times, because we're being invested in more now than we were 3 to 5 years ago. But no, what you're saying is right, and people don't really know what's coming month to month, and that does make it difficult.
Okay, just to clarify, you say pre-IPO. Does that mean like the idea is that you're looking to IPO Yahoo?
I think every company that hasn't, that is has venture investors, in our case, private equity, the outcomes are pretty. It's a pretty limited set, right? You could go public, you could get bought. I guess you could stay private forever and be like Bloomberg or Stripe and just stay private. But no, I just mean in the Valley. Chime just went public last week. Anyone who hasn't yet gone public would call themselves pre-IPO. So no, I'm not speaking specifically.
Okay, one fun thing. You are a music guy, as we said. And last year, Jim was out on stage with the Chainsmokers, so we are expecting the same thing this year with Diplo. What's been your favorite Cannes concert?
Well, look, the Chainsmokers last year, for those who were there all the way until through. Did you make it to the very end?
Very end.
Because Sarah, remember that the police shut. I don't know if this is a Cannes first, but the police had to shut down our party at 3 a.m. And Shabuzi showed up and played with the Chainsmokers, and they definitely pulled Reed Raymond from Apollo and myself on stage. Our friend Dan Clancy, who I just saw walk in, the CEO of Twitch, was also pulled on stage because they thought he was Richard Branson. It was an amazing. But we have a lot to live up to this year. Diplo, is there. I definitely think there could be some surprise guests, and we'll see if we run into police interference.
And last thing, one embarrassing fact about Nirav.
Oh, well, it's not embarrassing, but the thing that everyone here should know, he can elaborate, is that my wife introduced him to his wife.
Oh, that's a cute one. Okay, we'll take a cute one. Wow, what we learned a lot. So one, we learned that Nirav was number 84 at Yahoo. I did not know that, number 84. You think about the way that you talk about Yahoo, you talk about it like it's still in its early days, which is incredible given that it's one of the oldest internet companies.
I think everyone who works there, we all feel that way. Yeah.
It's just amazing. When you were talking about the brands, you've invested so much in each of these standalone brands, but you say they're strongest together as an ecosystem, which I think is really interesting, especially for your ad business. You've added hundreds of hours of programming, or you said 50 hours of programming.
Just for sports.
Just for sports. Yeah. I had no idea that you guys were investing that much in original. When we talked about the ecosystem, you equated it, my Washington heart loved this, to like a federal system where everyone is very patriotic for Yahoo, and I feel that. And then lastly, when we think about the future of Yahoo, everybody eventually has to go somewhere, and there's only a few options. So we will be looking out, maybe one day you'll be ringing the bell. Everyone, a big round of applause for Jim Lanzone.